everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today is, well, it's a great day. It's not too far before the marathon event happening that I registered for, and basically able to answer someone's question. Someone asked here what the return policy was for the place where I bought the shoes that I had to return. And the return policy is this company, Fleet Feet, will return your shoes for return or exchange for up to 60 days for any kind of a reason that would be pertaining to if you didn't like how the shoe performed, how it fit, or even how it looked. And so those are the criteria of the return process, and within 60 days you can do that. The shoes that I was taking back were well within the 60-day time frame, and at the same time it was definitely approximately, I'll have to look at the records, but it was at least a month or so out from when I wanted to try this style of shoe, and I thought it would work for the purposes that I'm training for. However, this particular shoe that I was wearing was not only something that I tracked for the 13 miles that they were worn total, but for each event I was able to see my approximate miles per hour, and so in other words, if I ran or my time per mile, even if you want to put it that way, but I was able to see where on the side of 4 miles per hour I'm able to perform in these shoes, and whether I could do that for a sustained period of time with the data that I'm gathering using the training device that I've oftentimes referenced in this segment on this platform, I guess. And so with all that information, and because I'm trying to get through, wearing the right combination that's not going to help exacerbate a specific pain that I've been running through, I had to try a few styles of shoes, and some of those were things that I was able to acquire on an auction site in a gently used format, and some were things that just for whatever reason seemed to be like the right thing at that moment, like for whatever reason. And so as I selected those shoes that I did and ran in them, I found that my times per, my miles per hour or minutes per mile seemed to, it took longer to run in those shoes at a comfortable speed. And so maybe it was something that I needed to do to run with a slower cadence, but in my mind I was running slower because it kind of hurt a little bit more to run in those shoes. So after using the shoes in a varied array of tempos, I returned them having used about 13.2 miles or something total on those shoes. But I did find exactly what I needed from the same company, from the same, business, Fleet Feet. And so they did me right, in helping me to test out something, and also to reasonably return the item and then acquire the correct thing. Now, here's the thing about what I did, and why I feel both good about it but also bad about it. I'll start with the bad so I can end on something good. But I feel really almost like I used a brand new pair of shoes, and now they're going to go back into a system that may or may not be able to repurpose them, as well as they should be. Like maybe it becomes now the waste that we see getting dumped in another country, and it floats up upon the shore, and that makes me feel really bad. And so had I been able to do things differently. I might also never have made a variety of other choices, like even down to the very vehicle that I drive now. But somewhere along the line, if we don't pursue the getting the right fit, so to speak, then we might not ever encounter the opportunity to get the right shoe. If the shoe fits, well, that might make all the difference. So in my quest to find the right thing for the right reasons, there are things, maybe not even the right reasons, maybe just for the reasons that make the most weird sense to the person making the choices for the shoes. Like for me, I needed something that was more stable, something that I could feel like it wasn't just foam that I was running on, like cushiony foam, something that had some feel back, and also something that didn't make my feet feel like they were crashing onto the ground over and over, which possibly could be the entire reason why I had a blood blister in a part of the bottom of my foot that doesn't even touch the ground, the sole of my shoe even. So anyway, some shoes would kind of exacerbate that pain, and this was one of them. And so I returned it just over 30 days into probably, I'll have to look at the data again, but either way, for using them 13.2 miles versus a few other flavors of styles, these were not anywhere better than anything that I had experienced. Not to say that they were bad, because they're what helped me to choose the correct version of what I had returned. The shoe that I returned had an amazingly grippy feel to it. And so there were things about the shoe that made it hard to want to return, because, I would love to wear them. But what if I had to wear a shoe all day long and do exactly what I'm about to do? Like physically, what if something in our nation happened and I needed to do a lot of walking? Well, I needed to know, could I have the endurance that it took to complete a marathon? At a certain point during this journey, I started feeling like if I just didn't have that pain in my toe, I'm pretty sure I've got this down. I'm pretty sure I could even run it in times that would surprise myself. But I haven't been able to relax enough to do that. And what do I mean? These shoes that I returned, when I was running, my feet they felt tense. And so I didn't know the difference until I put on the right shoe and was able to run for just long enough. I ran a 5K right off the bat with those shoes after having run another 5K. And right off the bat, they greatly changed the way I thought about wearing shoes to begin with. I could feel my feet were relaxed. Like the more I stepped, the more that I put time into feeling the shoe and seeing how it felt on everything, the more I was able to let my foot relax. And that was not me actively doing it. I think physiologically I could tell the shoe was protective enough, stable enough, and it distributed the impact just the way that worked for my stride. And so I kind of got caught up in the two shoes. I hope I'm still, telling the story straight, but basically I went with a different variety of this shoe that I returned because it had such amazing grip. And then the shoe that I went for is what I was trying to describe as far as how amazing of a ride it was, if I could describe it as that. And so Fleet Feet, thankfully, was able to allow me to exchange the shoe, and they did it independent of each operation. In other words, I returned the other shoe, and then I found that Fleet Feet had the colorway that I wanted in a shoe variant made by this company, and the company just so happens to have a puma as a logo. And if anyone were to, I guess, think about me, I would hope that they know that I talk a lot about wildlife and nature, and think about wildlife and nature enough that a lot of the products that inevitably become my favorite have some kind of wildlife on it, you know, like Osprey, Puma, you know, I mean, Benchmade makes a knife that has a butterfly logo, and these qualities are the things that I really, really like and that are fun for me. And so thinking in terms of, you know, what me as a kid would do to make this more enjoyable would be, as a kid, it would be, you know, it probably begins with the shoes. Because as a kid, I remember, you know, I had different kinds of tennis shoes, and at some point when the NBA legend Michael Jordan, when he was dominating, you know, the NBA, and without a doubt, when all of that was happening, there were commercials that asked about it, you know, in a format that was something like, well, it's probably the shoes, you know. Anyway, so having a logo of a big mountain lion on my shoe was something that I thought would be, you know, well, surely for me, the wildlife and nature advocate, they've got to have something that works for me, that brings joy to running. So anyway, Fleet Feet has an excellent return policy, and that return policy helped me to make this type of comparison between the stuff that's, you know, out there on the market that might be a game changer for someone who needs to wear that kind of a shoe, like a heavier runner, for example. I consider myself in that category, and I've shared enough data here to validate or refute that. And whatever the logic is, I know that, you know, I definitely sweat a lot more than most of the people I know, and I am heavier than most of the runners that I see out there. And at the same time, I've always been able to enjoy great endurances, hiking things, you know, in sometimes twice a day, things that at some points in my life were not challenging, had been challenging, or were not challenging at all. And so my health has fluctuated, but Fleet Feet allowed me to accommodate the, in some cases, the trial and error aspect. But generally, the record would show that yeah, I rarely would return something that I enjoyed. It's just that monetarily, you know, I can't really make everything happen at the same time. And so I'm relying more on if it was meant to be, it's meant to be. And not all businesses are as helpful. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to purchase this product. And I'm also overwhelmingly sad that I've also provided possibly another landfill item in making these kinds of learning these kinds of lessons, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it. So that's kind of what I've been trying to talk about here. Hope that all makes sense. Until next time, peace, love, and all that old school stuff.